How's it going, everyone? Welcome to No Man's Radio, the only podcast to broadcast to the infinite cosmos. I'm your host, Tom, and I'm here with Charlie.
What is up, guys?
And Joe.
Why can't I host? No,
because it's my turn. I have the power now. No. So what No Man's Radio is, it is a podcast dedicated to No Man's Sky. And our goal is to basically cover this game for the entirety of its popularity, much in the same way that communities have built up around stuff like EVE Online or the Souls games, where people are continuously finding new things to like and enjoy about them. And I'm actually looking, I actually look at other podcasts, kind of like, I don't know if you've listened to them, but a great podcast I would suggest is Bonfireside Chats if you like the Souls games. In just the way that they talk about, Souls lore and discussion and theories. We want to do something similar for Podcast Demastered, but we want to talk about our experience within this infinite universe. And what makes Podcast Demastered is our other podcast, No Man's Radio. What makes No Man's Sky different from other games is the fact that it is infinite and the conversation doesn't end. So we can always be finding new things. And I feel like because of that, we'll consistently have something to talk about. We definitely want to hear feedback from you guys in regards to the show, and you can do that by getting in touch with us and following us on Twitter at Demastercast. Or if you have longer term questions, you can email us at podcastdemastered@gmail.com. Also, if you like this, check out our sister podcast, Podcast Demastered, which I said earlier when I messed up, where we talk about just general gaming news outside of No Man's Sky. So to start off our first episode, because, we don't have the game in our midst yet, I just want to talk about why are we personally excited for the game? And it's been a game that's been a long time coming since its reveal at the VGX, terrible VGX, though, which with Joel McHale and Jeff Keighley.
Good times.
That was so painful.
So kind of starting with myself, I guess the reason I'm so excited is when I was playing games as a kid and I was playing Super Nintendo and I was playing PlayStation and N64 and I saw where games were going, where they were transitioning from 2D to 3D. I always thought, and as you get older, you learn about technical limitations and what isn't possible. But I always thought this is going to be the Ultimax. Eventually, this is going to be the norm for games, where it's just going to be worlds that have no limit, worlds you can continuously explore. And I always thought about so a game like Spyro, I played all the time as a kid, and it had these invisible walls everywhere, these boundaries, but it looked like you had these large, huge open fields beyond these boundaries. And it was I want to go out there and explore. And that's always been kind of the thing I look for in games, for as much as I like a linear, go do this game. I like a game that offers more, and not necessarily open world in the sense of we filled the map, we loaded it with side quests and kind of boring locations, but I mean something like GTA or a Skyrim or Fallout, where you look over that ridge and you're like, what's over there, and nothing's limiting you from going and seeing that. And No Man's Sky is kind of the pinnacle of that, where it's what is that star? I can fly over to that star. I can see what's going on. I can discover something new. You could potentially in this game spend the entirety of it on one planet, exploring cave systems, doing this.
You could spend your whole actual life doing that.
Yes. And I think that's the most exciting thing about it for me, is it is the infinite game. It's the one I've been waiting for. It's the game that doesn't tell you no. So what about you, Charlie? What kind of drives you?
I think one of the coolest things I've seen is the language system and the kinds of exploration that we haven't seen yet. The way I plan on playing this game is going the way the map tells me, but I also want to spend a fair amount of time on each planet, and I want to learn the way it functions, and I want to pick up all those pieces of the language so that I can get a better deal, or I can make a trade, or I could get maybe a civilization to build a wall. I don't know what I'll do. Nobody got that. Okay.
Bill.
Anyway, I'm excited to create in a
Delayed,
world.
but I got it.
I'm excited to create in a world where I have control.
Yeah.
And I can get my own ship and I can make it mine and I'll tell my own stories. I'm excited for the stories.
Yeah.
Because they're all gonna be different. And I will be sad if we start to notice the trends in the procedural.
And maybe we might.
Like and like I kind of will be sad if I'm like, well, that kind of sounds like my story. Only my thing had 3 legs and yours had 2 legs.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
can
I'm
see
a
that
little
being a
skeptical,
thing.
but that's like where the heart of my excitement lies.
Yeah. What about you, Joe?
So as you guys know, on our other show on podcast Demastered,
He's got to plug it because he's the host of that
yeah,
one.
because I'm the host and I will take over. No,
Usurper.
early on last year, I was kind of at a point where I'm like, I'm done hearing about this. I just want the game.
we think we all were
and
because it got bad.
Yeah,
I was seeing
it was the same amount of
Sean Murray's face
information,
too
and it was
much.
about like no new information was coming out, and it was really over probably like the last since like they announced the actual physical release version, everything that was happening with the release. I think since then I feel like they've done a good job of actually explaining that what the game is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where I started getting interested again. And like obviously when they first announced it, it was just this beautiful looking like indie game it looks like, and now you realize that this indie studio has
it's
made
so
what
much
is
more,
a AAA product. And to me that's just fascinating. The people that did Joe Danger have made
Yeah,
this.
right.
Like,
yeah.
I think it's that part that kind of gets me, because I'm still like I'm very excited for the game for basically the reasons you guys said, like
Yeah.
exploring the worlds and everything, but I'm very interested to see like what are my possibilities on each planet like able to do. Like we've seen a lot of planets with a bunch of life and everything, but I want to see like what are those planets that are just wastes of planets almost
Yeah.
of that are barren,
99%.
that are barren
To
and
be
have
specific.
nothing on it.
But we have to think, what is 99% of, like, how big is that?
Well, that 1% is a
How
lot,
big is that
though.
1% of what is
Yeah.
in Infinite Universe? You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
I'm very interested to see the type of community that this game builds, if it is as ambitious as everyone says it is, and because they've talked about trading and whatnot, and like small, and they've hinted at stuff like that. So I find that stuff actually like really interesting, and seeing like how deep in you actually get into it. And I'm actually really, really excited to kind of figure out. And I know it's maybe maybe a month after the game launches, but people play to sickening levels probably. I'm interested to see what is at the center.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's the whole point of trying to get. That's like the story of the game is getting there.
I'm almost
And
as
that's
excited to get to the center of this thing as I was to see what was at the center of Peter Molyneux's cube.
Yeah.
Yes,
which
hopefully
was
it's not
nothing.
as disappointing.
It was adding nothing.
Yeah.
So I have to wonder, and
It
I
was
don't,
the
I don't know
experience.
if you guys have heard anything more than I have about it, but have they said if there is a map or something that will guide you
There
towards
is,
the center of the universe?
the galactic map has basically a line
Okay.
that it can, but you go this planet to this planet to this planet to this planet to this planet, and you just keep going, and that is your map.
So
to the
it gives
center.
you
Yeah.
a guide point.
Mhm.
Because that was the one thing, not knowing that, I assumed like, okay,
Like,
you
which
kick
way?
off, which
Yeah.
way is the
No,
center?
yeah, there's that's basically your guiding light.
Yeah.
That's all you have. And you can go that way, or you can just turn around and fly up.
yeah.
I'm excited for the aliens and the tech and stuff.
lang-
like
The
Yeah.
language, yeah.
That was the coolest. That was such a smart idea that I don't think it's been done, but to this I the words escaping me, but like
Scale.
to the scale,
Yeah.
it's so grand. Like I wonder how far it's gonna go.
I think especially seeing the latest footage, IGN had their IGN first where they put up a lot of new information, and finally seeing what another humanoid alien race looks like in that game, and what a shop looks like, what a vendor looks like, what it's like to talk to one of these species. It gave me a very, you know, that scene in Star Wars The Force Awakens where they walk into Maz Kanata's bar?
Yes.
Or just the cantina in A New Hope, and you're seeing all these crazy new alien life forms. They have like this way of communication that just sounds so alien to you. Like I when they showed this footage of this vendor and this species, like I'm hoping the game does more of that, where you get that feeling like you got watching Star Wars, where it was like, what is this? I want to know everything about this, like this one species. I want to know why they talk like this. What does this species value? Who is this character? Like, does this character have any depth or value to him? And like even more so than that, like just walking out to a planet and seeing the wildlife. We've seen wildlife of just insane varying scale. We've seen everything from giant dinosaurs to like small little rabbit people, you know what I mean?
Rabbit people.
Yeah, and of course you can interact with all this, but talking about all this and everything we have seen, it does beg the question. It's something I've been wondering a lot is have Sean Murray stating, and we stated before that, you know, like 1% of Infinite is still a pretty big number.
Yeah.
But now, seeing as they've only shown really heavily populated planets and really interesting planets, have they shown too much, and are they maybe setting people up for disappointment? Are people's expectations maybe a little too out there in terms of how populated and how dense every planet's going to be?
I'm going to jump in on this one real
Go
quick.
for it. It's all you, man.
One, I think that you're going to always have those people who have the wildest expectations for this type of game. I think it's just impossible to avoid in that situation where people are going to just get their imaginations going and going and going. And ultimately, no, you can do that for literally anything.
But I mean specifically because of the ratio of lifeless planets to life planets.
And like for me, like a few weeks ago, we were talking about recording this, and I said, I want to do more. And then I was going to actually start, and I purposely was like, you know what, I'm not gonna watch all these different videos, because I'm like, I kind of want to go into it on the 21st when it comes out, kind of with that like almost blank slate. Even though I have seen some, but I haven't seen. Like, I purposely didn't watch, like, that the long gameplay IGN just recently put up because I didn't want to see that.
Have you seen, like, crafting in the game and, like, collect? Oh, you're going to be in. You're going to
the
be
whole
shocked.
elemental.
Because the reason for it is because I didn't want to start, and I start to get excited about things, and I'll overthink it, and I will put those ambitions that games, movies, TV shows can never reach, and I just didn't want to do it with this game, especially because we were going to be doing a show around it. I didn't want to have it a week after and be like, we'll be all grumpy over here.
I thought this was going to be this.
As excited as I am about the game, I'd be lying if I said that I won't be slightly disappointed if the first 10 or 20 or even 30 planets I visit don't give me this, don't show me any of this incredible alien life that I've seen in the preview footage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though I am understanding of what the ratio is and how realistic it is, I still think I'm going to enjoy the game, but there's still going to be a part of me that'll be disappointed.
I think the cool thing about that is that regardless of how lifeless those planets are, you may get something you need, or maybe you don't need now. There's a resource there. But you can use later, and that is so cool. I think, like Joe said, there are two sides of the coin, but mine are like, well, they've got a reason they're pushing this game. And if this game kind of just went silent for years and it came out and it was this huge fucking thing and nobody knew, it would be a shame. And I think somebody at Sony, or who, you know, they seem to be the driving force for this. They're pushing it for a reason, and I think because it's gonna fucking blow people's minds.
I just want to say, like, if you can remember, like just 3 months after it was announced, there was a flood, and they lost a lot of their progress on this game. One of the reasons it ended up taking a little longer than they expected, but
Sony footed a lot of the bill.
Sony jumped in and footed probably at the time just to get good face value on it, because be like, oh, we stepped in, we helped this game that everyone went crazy about. And then they probably were, because they were putting the money, they were able to get like access to it easier, and they probably saw something. They were like, you're not bullshitting. Like, this is, I think this is this thing.
They saw what we all saw at VGX.
Let's make this like it feels like a first party studio exclusive coming out, and they're treating it like Bloodborne was. Like, Bloodborne is technically a second party game, but the way they treat it, you think it's first party, and I feel the same way they're doing with that. And I feel like it is because there's something special. Just real quick, Tom, you also talked about, and I don't think we really covered it, are they showing too much? I don't think they are, because I think they, for years, didn't show enough, and that was one of the things that, I don't know why I keep twisting my fingers like
this.
At
least people can see it.
It's like you're giving the air purple nipple.
Yeah, at least people can see now the weird hand motions I make when I talk.
The air nipples.
They're going to think you're an Italian.
But for years, my biggest complaint was they didn't show anything. Or they kept showing the same thing.
Yeah, the same thing.
And they were kind of saying the same stuff, and that's kind of where I got tired of it. And now that they're saying more about it, it makes sense, though, because I feel like we only started getting like solid details over the past like 4 or 5 months.
Well, yeah, like we're seeing,
and now it's a month from release. I think that's appropriate.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely agreed.
I don't know. There's still a part of me that's like, I know what they have to show over the preview circuit. They can't show, like if you're at E3, a barren planet isn't going to excite the masses in the same way this lush green planet with dinosaurs and fucking rivers and oceans is going to excite people. But at the same time, I still think that's setting up like John Everyman, you know, a guy who has only seen this footage and is like, wow, this game looks big and
Joe
exciting.
Every Derp.
Yeah. Like Joe Dirt, basically right over here.
Watches wrestling.
Yeah. Like I feel like he's going to see this and he's going to, you know, go through his first few planets and be like, oh, I'm bored now and shut it off. If that core gameplay loop doesn't grab him, you know what I mean? Not that I think that's going to affect sales, but that could potentially have a negative word of mouth, or people are like, oh, you know, people might call false advertising, like this game isn't what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Not that I really expect that, but at the same time, I think it should be a concern for them just because of that
I
ratio.
wouldn't be surprised if they may manipulate the beginning of it at least.
I was just thinking like they might like write some sort of code where like your first planet will always give you X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Like everything you need to get going. Like obviously a ship, or maybe you just
but have
like
to.
maybe it's kind of just like The Witness where the screen fades into where you are and you've got your ship and you've got your starter gun and then you just go.
Well, if you pre-order from GameStop, you start with an attack ship and blaster.
I
Right?
was
course you
kind
do.
of bummed about that, but it's really not a big deal. Also, something I forgot to mention: the closer you get to the center of the universe, the more populated and the more life is.
So that's
is on the
interesting. It's
planet.
kind of like how the sun would work in general.
Exactly.
That's interesting. I like that. So, did you guys pre-order the super cool limited edition?
So for PS4, there's
the deluxe edition.
there's a steelbook version or like a
It's 80.
Yeah. I'm
It's
not talking about the
70.
Apex. I'm talking about the PS4
Apex
deluxe
is
edition.
specifically on
Yeah.
PC, which kind of pisses me off because that comes with a cool ship statue, but I don't have a PC.
I'm gonna be honest. I thought that that $80 the Apex edition, I thought it was a little garish. I wasn't a huge fan of the look of the ship
a
statue.
sucker for steelbooks.
Yeah,
I like steelbooks,
but
I also like the idea of this game.
that Apex the deluxe edition, just the standard one for PS4, was beautiful, and I'm so mad I missed out on that for the initial pre-order cycle. But I do think I am going to pre-order this game physically. I think maybe it's cheating a little bit, and it probably is. I do kind of want that initial boost. Like, I'm not sure how much grinding I'm going to want to do off the bat.
I think this whole game is going to be grinding.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of reminds me of playing World of Warcraft where, yeah, you got to do quests, but you got to grind to do the quests, where really there's no quest, but you just got to do the grind
Yeah.
to go somewhere. And that's exciting.
But how cool would it be, like, so what do you guys intend to play the game as? Like, what
Good question.
what's your intended route for to go? Like, for me, I am primarily intending to be an explorer in the game.
Okay.
I don't intend on engaging in a lot of combat. I'll do it if I have to, but like for me, it's going to be about exploring and collecting resources.
Yep.
What about you guys? Like, what's your goal? Do you want to be a trader? Do you want to be an explorer?
Can I guess Joe's goal? He's
Go
gonna
ahead.
try to create a religion based around WWE, and he's basically gonna be an intergalactic Jehovah's Witness,
Flying around to all the ships, knocking on their
converting
ship door.
people to 316ology.
Damn
I hate you,
straight.
Joe.
That's the bottom line, because Joe Lapp said so.
Have you heard about our Lord and Savior, the Undertaker?
Yeah. So the reason I started laughing
It's quite wonderful.
was because I'm thinking, like, oh yeah, like I'll probably be the same way
Yeah.
explorer, but I know I'm gonna get to one of those planets and be like, fuck this planet, and literally kill
Well, you'll probably
everything I
you'll
can
probably get
possibly
killed
kill.
yourself before
Yeah.
that happens.
Oh, yeah, 'cause the
Those
robots
sentries
come.
don't fuck around.
I'll
Yeah.
do it
I
when I'm more
read.
powerful. Okay?
I am going to play this game like an upstanding galactic citizen. I am going to be. My goal is to follow the map, and I'm going for the universe. But I want to be strong as fuck.
Yeah.
So that means collecting, gathering, learning all the languages, like finding as much as like getting the most out of each planet as possible, so that I'm equipped to go anywhere. Because like you got to upgrade your thermal
Yeah.
protection, you got to upgrade your cold protection, and if I want to go somewhere like, let's say a type of mineral or whatever collectible only kind of grows in this environment, I want to be able to get in there and get that shit.
Yeah. The one thing I was thinking about, and I know exactly what's going to happen with this game, is I'm going to go in for the intention of being like, oh, I'm just going to explore the trading system. If it's as in depth as I think it's going to be, and you know me, you know how much I love my in-game.
I don't think we have to
in-game-
delve back into the Fallout 4 water
in-game
supply
economies,
con
like,
yet and run
God.
if this system is as deep as I think it's going to be, I could see myself really get into that and essentially playing the whole game like, yeah, I'll get to the center of the universe, whatever, but essentially playing the whole game on my trade routes and making new trade routes and bringing resources to other galaxies.
You want to buy space water? $500.
Yeah.
Oh, Tom, you have a problem.
But like that has me as equally as excited as, you know, seeing any of these planets or engaging in space combat.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder how intuitive the flight controls are going to be.
I think at this point it's going to be nothing but fine-tuned. I think, you know, it'll probably have inverted controls.
I would hope so.
I would hope so. And I don't worry about, you know, movement or control schemes. I think
it's gonna be fairly standard across the board,
because you know they've probably had, you know, they probably sent code to friends, they've sent code to Sony, and I'm sure they're getting feedback from all over the place.
UI looks really sleek too.
Oh, it looks great.
It does.
It kind of reminds me of Destiny.
Yeah, it does.
It's kind of like cubed and like white lines and shit.
It's interesting. It's interesting that you bring up Destiny, because like everything I've seen about this game is kind of reminds me what I wanted Destiny to be before I knew more about it, where it was the concept of going across this unknown, insane sci-fi world and finding these new alien races and like being heavily inspired by 70s science fiction and science fiction covers, which were very kind of abstract, which is what I thought Destiny was going for initially. And I'm starting to notice that a lot of the reasons I'm getting excited for this game are the same reasons I was initially getting excited about Destiny in 2014 before, you know, the whole multiplayer thing really caught on with me.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm just kind of sad that I won't be able to like snap Netflix and play this. You know?
Yeah.
I'm basically hinting I wish I could play it on my Xbox.
This looks like, I think at some point, like once the kind of new planet has kind of worn off, I think this is going to be a good podcast game for me.
Yeah. I was just kind of sitting back, relaxing.
And we're recording a podcast about a podcast game right now. How perfect.
It's like Inception.
That we could be your podcast
this water
game.
bottle upside down to see if
you
I'm
could be
in the dream
listening
world.
to a podcast about the game.
You could be
you're
listening to
playing
No Man's Radio while playing No Man's Sky.
You know how many times I've listened to
And
a
we're
Destiny
talking about that
podcast
right
while
now.
playing Destiny?
Exactly.
A sickening amount of times.
Exactly.
It's a little gross, actually, the more I think about it.
So this episode, we're probably are going to cut it off now. There's really, unfortunately, like until the game launches, there's not going to be a whole lot to talk about.
This was our intro.
Yeah, this was our intro. We might not have a new episode up for a little bit. We'll talk about that more when we want to put episode 2 up later, but we will definitely keep you guys updated.
Well, it's bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly.
One every other week.
Yeah, one every other week. But we'll talk about when I want to put episode 2 up, because it might not be immediately, but I did want to get episode 1 up just to kind of let you guys know we're out there, let you know what we're about, and that we do intend on being your go-to source for podcasting while you're playing No Man's Sky. So like I said before, if you want to hear more of us, you can listen to us on Podcast Demastered. You can search on iTunes. Leave a rating for that show. Leave a rating for this show if you like it. When we start putting up more episodes, let us know what you thought of this first episode, and you can do that by getting in touch with us on Twitter at Demastercast. And I think that's it. So we will see you in the next galaxy.
Oh, that was cute.
Yeah.
That's
probably not going to stick. I'm just trying to do things here.
No, I like that.
I'm throwing feces at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Usually all of it.
Yeah, sometimes you
most
got to
of
throw it out there. Like
I mean,
that.
if you're throwing it at a fan, it kind of spreads.
Yeah.